Father's Day at the ballpark in Toronto, and a big crowd expected as Brett Cecil makes his debut on the season against these Philadelphia Phillies. 2 straight wins for the Blue Jays. And now for the Phillies, Jimmy Rollins leads it off. Placido Polanco, Hunter Pence there at the top. Jim Thome, Shane Victorino, and Carlos Ruiz back in there as the catcher. Not expected to play today. Hector Luna gets a start at first base. John Mayberry Jr. slammed a home run yesterday, and Michael Martinez is at second.
Brett Cecil back in the big leagues. There are his numbers in the minor leagues this year. 4-2 at a 347 earned run average for Cecil. 9 AA starts and 1 AAA start.
So a lot of talk about Brett Cecil and the things he's worked to improve. Last year it was all about velocity. This year about, well, on his part, losing some weight, trying to get in better shape, and now trying to pitch down in the zone. His first pitch is a strike, but it was up in the zone.
Saw him just a little bit right at the end of spring training.
Up in the zone again, Tabby, as he gets the ground out.
Take a look at the scouting report for Brett Cecil, brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners. He basically has the 4-pitch mix. The fastball, slider, curveball, and the changeup. Last year he used it about 45%. With the fastball, that is down this year to 21%. He's going to have to get all those pitches over and get them down. He's been talking about he knows how to pitch now, and he knows how to read bats just a little bit better and pitch to the batter's weaknesses.
Everybody will be watching closely on Brett Cecil. Number one, they're going to look at that velocity, 89 right here. And that's kind of right back in the zone where we've probably seen him most of the time.
When he first came up, it was 93, 94 miles an hour. And then we saw the dramatic drop in velocity last year. Well, Brett says now, I don't care about it. It doesn't matter. As long as I execute my pitches and throw the ball down and keep it off the middle of the plate, I'm going to be fine. And I agree with him. If he goes ahead and does his thing, and that is move the ball around, he's got to stay out of the middle and keep it down, he'll be fine.
Now there's one down, and that's really the first one to this point he's gotten down around the knees. Other than that, even though he got the ground ball out with Jimmy Rollins, a couple of pitches up in the strike zone. John Farrell will be watching closely, Bruce Walton as well, and the entire staff of the Blue Jays.
Then saw him right at the end of spring training before he got sent down to AA, and now getting our first look at him this season. He looks like a different type of pitcher than the one we saw last year.
There's the curveball, and you know, I have a comment after watching Cliff Lee pitch again yesterday, and I get so impressed with a guy that is not overpowering but has a great ability to attack the strike zone in various ways. And I think Cliff Lee would be an ideal guy for Brett Cecil to watch video of and maybe learn that pitching art.
Yeah, how to throw the ball where you want to. He's got great pitchability. That's that catchphrase that we're hearing a lot of now. Do you have pitchability? Throw the ball where you need to.
High strike as he gets the strikeout. Polanco looking, second out of the inning. But again, I have this tendency of hearing baseball talk, and a lot of talk will be, well, I've learned to pitch and I'm getting the ball down. And to this point, generally, it's been up.
This one right about belt high, but inside showed all 4 of his pitches that time to Polanco. And that's a guy who doesn't strike out a lot. Just 1 every 11 at bats.
And again, up to start Hunter Pence. And the only reason that I bring up the up portion is watching him last year with the struggles. It was up, up, up for Brett, and I think that's a key issue.
Well, he just couldn't get the ball down last year. That was his big problem. Made 20 starts for the Blue Jays last year. Had 2 complete games, 4-11 with an ERA of 4.7.
Well, let's make a comparison on the numbers the last couple of seasons for Brett, and it's easy to see that 15-game winning season. Last year falls off to the 4 wins. ERA not all that different.
Big number, the whip at 1.3, and when you can't get the ball down, you know, things are going to happen. And they're not good.
Well, we've looked at 11 Brett Cecil pitches to this point, and by my count, one has been down around the knees. Now, if you're successful, I guess ultimately it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll watch how this game unfolds, and we'll see how it goes along for him. We were talking the other day that there are some people who can pitch up and be successful.
And there are. But if the talk goes that now I'm getting the ball down and you don't see any of that on the big league level,
yeah, we'll
that's
see.
A different story.
We'll see here. He's got to be able to execute.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to see the evidence of the talk. Of course, the Blue Jays, Tabby, need starting pitching right now, and it's a golden opportunity for Brett personally.
Great opportunity. You go out there and you throw some shutout innings together, maybe get into the 7th or 8th inning, and you're going to stay.
There's a changeup in the dirt to get the strikeout. They'll record it at first base in a 1-2-3 first inning for Brett Cecil as he tries to reinstall himself in this rotation of the Blue Jays. He's trying to win 3 straight now after getting swept by the Washington Nationals. That lineup for the Blue Jays, Brett Lawrie and Colby Rasmus at the top. They have been tearing it up. Brett Lawrie certainly of late. Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion right there in the heart. Kelly Johnson's at second. Yunel Escobar at short. Yan Gomes gets the start at first base. Rajay Davis, yesterday's hero, in left. And Jeff Mathis with the start behind the plate.
Kyle Kendrick has made 5 relief appearances this year, and this will be his 10th start of the year as he takes over for Roy Halladay, who is on the disabled list. As a starter, 2-5 with an ERA of about 4.6. He also, because he can't just blow the ball by, he's got to be able to make pitches to survive. Last outing against Minnesota.
And Brett Cecil trying to get things started in a big way. And this ball is over the head of Victorino up against the wall. Brett Cecil has make that Brett Lawrie, leading it off with a double.
And his father, Russ, is loving that. Gives him the high five, and that is his grandfather getting a high five or a fist pump. The best thing about that at bat right there by Brett Lawrie, first fastball he sees, he turns on it. And that's what Kyle Kendrick has been giving up against Minnesota. He only lasted 4 innings and gave up 6 earned runs. Good start by the Blue Jays here as that ball eludes Victorino in center.
Dave Victorino was on his horse, gave it everything he had, but Brett Lawrie with that double. Nice way to start the ball game. And now for Colby Rasmus. He loves to pull it anyway, so kind of ideal the setup as that pitch is left up but off speed.
Take a little something off. We have seen Colby Rasmus actually pull balls that were on the outside part of the plate. He's got tremendous plate coverage now, and he really has a good sense for that ball inside, especially that slider down and in.
That breaking ball is left up and away. Colby Rasmus Been hot in the last 11 games, not only with the batting average, but primarily those power numbers, the 3 doubles and 3 home runs, driving in runs for the club. Brett Lawrie was dancing off second base, nobody near him on the infield, and we've seen Brett on a number of occasions take off running.
Not today. Not right now. You got to be playing for that big inning. You got your big hitters coming up.
Sounds like you got the lasso out.
If I was the manager, which I'm not. But you've got a leadoff double. You've got a 3-1 count. You're playing for the big inning.
This ball's driven to left center field. Nobody's getting to this one. One hop up against the wall. Lawrie scores easily. RBI double for Colby Rasmus, and the Blue Jays take a quick 1-0 lead. Colby Rasmus does it in front of Pops Tony.
Even though he's on the plate, and you were just talking about him pulling the ball, he can still hit the ball the other way and hit it hard. This ball is up and out over the plate, and he slams it into left center field with power. Ball slicing away from Victorino. No chance for him to run that one down. Another RBI for Rasmus.
It's right in that same gap where yesterday Rajai Davis was able to win the ball game for the Blue Jays, hitting one between the left fielder and center fielder. Jose Bautista stands in, 19 home runs. Hendrick with that little cutter finds the inside edge and gets in front 0-2.
Cuts inside, cuts outside. Not a lot of speed to his fastball. About 85, 86 miles an hour. He's using the cutter just a little bit more. Try and keep hitters off that fastball.
Snap throw down to second, and getting there late is Martinez to make a diving play to keep this from going into center field.
Michael Martinez, the second baseman, had broke to second for a pickoff play right here. Now he's going to go back to his position, and as he's going back, they tried to pick off once again, and if it wasn't for Martinez's athletic ability, this ball's into center field, and Colby Rasmus is at third.
Colby had a nice jump getting back into the bag. Pitch is low in the dirt. Doesn't get away far enough for Rasmus to move up. The double, by the way, for Lawrie, his 10th. For Rasmus, number 14. And for Colby, his 31st ribby on the season.
The top of that lineup, they are getting the job done ever since they moved into that 1 and 2 spot in the order for the Blue Jays.
Been an effective combination. Hendrick misses with that fastball that runs further in. And now 3-2 on Jose.
Don't expect him to challenge him right here. I could see him throwing that cutter or maybe using that change up.
Breaking ball stays up and in. Bautista reaches. 3 straight hitters reach for the Blue Jays to start things here on this Father's Day afternoon.
Good start for the Blue Jays. Let's take a look at the scouting report for Kyle Kendrick. He's basically a sinker slider type of player. He's got that cutter in the sinker, and he's got to be down in the strike zone also. Teams are hitting .299 against him. Doesn't strike out a lot of batters. Doesn't walk a lot of batters either. But right now, the one pitch that he's having trouble with, the fastball, only tops out about 90 miles an hour, and batters are hitting over 300 against it. So he's got to keep it down.
When you talk about hitters over the 300 mark against Kendrick, left-hand hitters have hit .294, right-hand hitters .304 on the season. So it's really not getting anybody out. Encarnacion takes outside. Very aggressive. Ruiz picks off Bautista at first base. Carlos Ruiz, unable to play yesterday, says he's ready to go today. And he's already made a couple of throws around the infield, this time getting Jose for the first out of the inning.
Set play as you watch Luna, the first baseman, just his second start this year, sneak in behind Jose Bautista. That's a set play. You call for a ball away from the right-handed hitter, opening up a nice lane for that catcher to make a throw to first base. See, I think they recognized that in yesterday's game, that Bautista likes to be very aggressive on the bases.
That secondary lead, you'll get a lot of guys who may not steal a lot of bases, but they get that large lead as the pitcher delivers.
And it's something that they will talk about. Hey, if that situation comes up, runners on first and third, let's go ahead and try and put the pickoff play on.
Edwin takes inside. Now the Phillies have had a rough go of late, and here this afternoon they immediately fall behind 1-0. But then you start to see some aggressive play defensively on the infield.
You have to. You have to be able to do that to try and help out your pitcher. Good pitch there. Down and away, and it came back over the outside part of the plate. Looked a little bit like that Vance Worley fastball that we saw on Friday night.
These Phillies have lost 11 of their last 14. And no coincidence, likely, Roy Halladay on the DL. It was Chase Utley and Ryan Howard both missing. This one close, but missing up and in. Kendrick's close on a couple of these breaking balls, but it's nowhere close to where he has the intention of throwing it to start with.
Wanted that ball down and away. He's averaging about 18 pitches per inning.
Now with this type of stuff, you can anticipate that Kendrick has had his struggles of late, and that's been true.
This was games at Minnesota and versus the Los Angeles Dodgers, lasting just 9 2/3 and giving up 11 earned runs. Walks a little bit of a problem, and there's the pitches per inning over the last 2 starts. Kept the ball in the ballpark for the most part this year.
Kendrick from Houston, Texas. He's 27 years of age. Originally a 7th round pick by the Phillies back in 2003. Edwin has battled on a couple of pitches well off the outside edge, but trying to protect that strike zone. Some of the numbers might indicate that Kendrick could even have an ERA higher than the 5.08 that he starts play with today, but with runners in scoring position, the batting average against just .217. Edwin gets a hanger and hangs out the line shot foul.
He is seeing everything that Kyle Kendrick has to offer. Trying to pull a string on the changeup. He's throwing him a curveball just off the plate. He's tried a cutter.
Rasmus with a good lead at second base. Fastball got him, and this one was spotted well on the outside corner. A little more pop on that heater. So we mentioned the Blue Jays have a number of their dads on hand this afternoon. They're taking in the ball game and having some fun. Ricardo Romero, what a fastball he threw to son Ricky for the first pitch here this afternoon.
We're going to have some of those dads join us here during the course of this ball game. Find out what Little League Baseball was like with their sons.
We going to get some dirt? Taking a strike at the outside corner, bottom of the knees, Kelly Johnson. His dad is here. First 3 hitters reached, 2 doubles and a walk, but now 2 outs, and there's a base hit into center field. A 2-out single is going to pick up another run for the Blue Jays. 2-0 here in the first inning. For Kelly Johnson, his 30th RBI.
Oh, you love those 2-out RBIs. There you go. Dad's giving him the high five. You got to love those 2-out RBIs. Kelly Johnson takes this pitch away from it and yanks it back through the middle. Good piece of hitting there to pick up that run with 2 outs.
Yeah, without that clutch 2-out hit, what started as a very promising inning had a chance to fizzle with just a single run. And Kelly Johnson likes to run. Kendrick is aware. Yunel Escobar at the plate. Now has that batting average over the 250 mark. Kendrick has certainly shown that he's willing to come in with the fastball.
He has to. He has to be able to move that ball around, in and out, up and down. Right now, he just doesn't have a whole lot behind those pitches.
Escobar 3 for 4 in yesterday's game. Takes another strike. Scored a pair of runs, drove one in. Picked up his 4th home run of the season. Hits one in the air to center field, easy for Victorino as he moves toward right center. And that'll do it for the Blue Jays in the first inning. But they get 2 very big runs on 3 hits and leave a man. Kelly Johnson, a key 2-out hit for the club. And it is Father's Day, and we are joined by Kyle's dad, Doug, a former Cy Young Award winner. Doug Drabeck joins us here in the booth, and it's got to be a lot of fun for you to be a part of things here on Father's Day, I would imagine.
No, it's a lot of fun. It worked out good with my schedule. Actually, it's our all-star break, so it all fell into place. But, you know, it's nice that the Blue Jays did this. You know, you don't see that happen often.
You're working as a minor league pitching coach and down at the A-ball level. Tell us what that's all about for you.
Well, it's been fun. I enjoy working with kids, and you know, it's actually been a learning process for me too. You know, I'll sit there and work with kids, and I'm like, you know, I could have used that advice when I was pitching myself. But it's fun just watching, you know, guys kind of go through struggles, but also the light come on with some things, and you know, they start figuring things out.
You got to work with kids when Kyle was a youngster.
Yes.
You coached his team. Tell us about that.
Well, that was probably more interesting back then, especially with him and his brother on the same team. But it was fun. We had, you know, we had a lot of good kids in that area, the Houston area. Some are in the big leagues now, and It was fun. Same type of thing, just trying to teach them and watch them have fun.
Jay Bruce was on that team?
Jay Bruce was on the team for a while.
You're telling me he was a pitcher back
He was
then.
one of our left-handed pitchers, and, he played first a little bit, outfield a little bit, but he...
He wasn't a very big guy back then. 14 or 15?
Yeah, 14 or 15 was kind of slow. Now he can run. He had a good arm, but he didn't have the arm he had, that he has now. Hitting for power, he was okay. It wasn't like he was a power hitter. Now all of a sudden he's hitting home runs in the big league. So it's funny how things turn out.
Here's a ball hit deep to right field. Bautista back. This one is getting out in a hurry. Home run, Jim Thome. And now 100 home runs for Thome for 3 different ball clubs. A very special number for a guy who is over 600 home runs on his career. It's a 2-1 Blue Jays lead here, just the second inning.
Just the 4th player in Major League history who could say that he has hit 100 home runs with 3 different organizations. That was a breaking ball over the middle of the plate, and Thome has seen plenty of these in his career, and he doesn't miss it.
Another pitch that was up in the strike zone, and you're right, Jim Thome has not missed a whole lot of these over his career. 5-hitter is Shane Victorino, switch hitter batting right-handed. We're talking with Kyle Drabek's dad, Doug Drabek. Yeah, he won a Cy Young Award in the National League. And how tempting is it? How tough is it for you with Kyle at times struggling, and you've had the experience you've had, that chance maybe to give the information you feel he needs at any given moment?
Well, like I told him when he first got started, I said, I'm going to talk to you as like a pitching coach and not a dad. And, the one thing I told him is I'm just going to give you, maybe some suggestions or advice. I said, but, you're going to have different pitching coaches throughout your career, and they're the ones you're going to have to work with and trust, and they're going to have to, trust with have trust in you, and y'all are going to have to, have good communication. And, like I said, I throw out some ideas, and most of the time, he ends up saying, yeah, we've talked about that, or we've tried that, or something like that. So, I try not to harp on things, because I know he's getting plenty of advice.
Growing up, did you recognize that he was a different type of pitcher than you were? You were sinker, slider,
right.
Great curveball, great command, in and out, up and down. He's 96.
And the hard breaking ball and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I started out basically being kind of a 2-pitch pitcher, maybe 3-pitch, but, as I started to pitch more, especially when I got up to this level, I learned that I need more. And that's when I started relying on movement more and kind of refining my breaking balls. And, I just realized that's what I needed. So, but he is a different pitcher.
He's different, but he can adapt.
He can. And for, kids coming up, I don't care what level, it's a learning process, even if you've been in the big leagues for a few years, you're still going to learn things. You're still going to have to make changes and adapt to different ways. And, for kids that are younger, just getting started, they got to have to trust it.
4 strikeouts now for Brett Cecil. 4 of the 5 outs he's gotten via the strikeout at this point.
Now making the adjustments himself after the home run by Thome. He strikes out Victorino and then paints on the inside part of the plate to a hitter who's hitting .362.
We are chatting with Dad, Doug Drabek, here on Father's Day at the Rogers Center. And Kyle's still just a kid, but he's already had Tommy John surgery.
Right.
And now we're faced with, I guess you guys are faced with another possibility of that being talked about, or whatever may come about. How frustrating is this?
Well, I know it's frustrating for him, and for me, it's, I'm disappointed, but I think I'm more frustrated for him than anything else. And I don't know what the final results will be, but he's gone through something before, and so he knows what it's going to take. And it may take a little bit to sink in, but I know he'll get it done and do whatever he has to do.
A big thanks to Doug Drabek, former Cy Young Award winner. 2-1 Blue Jays lead as we go to the bottom of the second. Ricardo Romero, father of Ricky Romero, got a chance to throw out the first pitch. He wants to throw it from the front of the mound, but Ricky says, no, you go back to the rubber. And then he shows us some pretty good cheese.
Look at that. Right down the heart of the plate with a little something on it.
Ricky liked it, no doubt about that. I wonder if Dad was nervous getting out there on the big league hill.
I don't think so, but how special is that? To be able to catch a first pitch from your father.
Yan Gomes gets the start today at first base. He leads off here in the second inning. The Blue Jays picked up 2 runs in the first. Ricky and Dad just having a good time, and Dad probably calling the family saying, I brought it. The radar gun said 91 on my fastball.
Did you get the TiVo out? Did you TiVo it?
Well, if you're Dad, you probably hope they didn't, because you want to run with that 91 to 93 range on the fastball story.
That was beautiful mechanics, and he threw a strike.
I think son Ricky has to be very proud on this Father's Day. Usually it goes the other way around, and we've got some dads that are already proud. Colby Rasmus has an RBI double. Kelly Johnson has an RBI single that came with 2 outs, and Brett Laurie got it all started with a double to left center field. For the Phillies, Jim Thome has slammed another home run in his great career. Solo job, and there's your 2-1 ball game. Looks like Kendrick is going to try to pick away with that running fastball coming back to the outside edge on the right-hand hitters.
To the righties, he has got to stay away from him. You can pitch inside just to show him, but you're going to have to get him out throwing the ball away.
The roof is now open here at the Rogers Center. Right on the outside edge, grounded to short. Rollins to his left, and he'll throw out Gomes for out number 1. This is what it looked like during the national anthems here this afternoon. Dads and sons together, and trying to enjoy things as much as possible. With injuries going on, you can see some of the Blue Jays that are involved in that regard, but what a proud moment that has to be.
Yeah, 3 generations of Lovellos here. Tori's father, and then his son Nick was here, and he was out on the field, so that was pretty cool to see this morning.
Rajai Davis, the hero in yesterday's extra inning win for the Blue Jays, the first this season in extra innings at the Rogers Center. Aggressively going after the first pitch, and Brian Butterfield showing off his hands down at third base as he handles this one. Rajai now hitting .264. He's hit 4 home runs on the year. Blue Jays in that 10th inning yesterday had a runner at third base and 1 out, couldn't get the run home, and then Rajai with 2 down came to the plate, stroked one to left center field, found the gap, and the Blue Jays exulted on the field. Oh, 2 from Kendrick, right on that outside corner. He's starting to find that edge with regularity. With yesterday's win and it being interleague play, Blue Jays are now 5-6 against the National League clubs this year. 4-4 right here at home, 1-2 on the road. Changeup got him. Second out of the inning, second strikeout for Kendrick.
First one came on a fastball to Encarnacion. This time you watch him push that ball back into his fingers and then throw the dead fish, the changeup, to Rajai Davis. Davis is a very good fastball hitter, so you've got to change speeds on him, and Kendrick does that to get the second out.
Bring up the 9-hitter, getting the start today behind the plate, Jeff Mathis. Pat, I've heard some people try to explain why the Blue Jays, through the years of interleague play, have not played well against National League clubs. 20 games under 500 as they start play today.
And we had a stat when we were in Atlanta where the Blue Jays were 30 games under 500 in interleague play. And there is no explanation. They just have to play better baseball. I don't think it has anything to do with, well, there's no DH in the National League Park, or there is in the American League Park, or whatever it is. They have just not played very good against the National League.
Yeah, I think that 30 under was a road figure. Here's a pitch popped up on the right side. The second baseman, Martinez. Now he can't find it, and the first baseman picks him up. Hector Luna with a heck of a play to pick up his second baseman. Watch this. Can't even find it, and now the first baseman has got to sprint.
Sportsnet, brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware and building center location. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Great crowd on hand this afternoon at the Rogers Center as the Blue Jays close out this 3-game set with the Phillies and this 6-game homestand, trying to get back to 500 on the homestand and trying to sweep away the Phils. It's a 2-1 Toronto lead as we go to the third inning. John Mayberry Jr. will stand in. Homered in yesterday's game. Brett Cecil making his 2012 Major League debut after toiling the entire season to this point on the minor league level. Comes up with a 4-2 record. He brings a strike.
Let's go back to spring training, Alan, and when he was sent down to AAA. He started off spring training very well, I thought, Brett Cecil. Threw a lot of strikes, threw a lot of quality strikes. And then as spring training went along, the batters started getting their timing down and did not finish in the best ways. But then was sent all the way down to AAA so he could start and get in game situations in AA.
Pitch is hit deep to left field. Davis going back at the track at the wall. This one's out of here. A second home run of the afternoon for the Phillies. The other by Jim Thome, and the Phils have caught the Blue Jays here in the third inning at 2.
Leadoff home run last inning by Thome, and another leadoff home run this inning from Mayberry. That's two days in a row that he has hit a home run. And the Phillies tie it up with the 5th home run by John Mayberry Jr. Looked like a cutter or a slider. They wanted it in, and it's up. And that really speeds the bat up of Mayberry. But give Cecil some credit. He went down to AA trying to, I don't want to say reinvent himself, but he's trying to find the pitches that he needs to do to get back to the big leagues. He had started off slowly in AA, but right now it's been one of their hotter pitchers.
Gets a pitch down, and it's been rare as he gets the ground ball here to get Michael Martinez. First out here in the third inning. Rajay Davis gave chase on this home run by John Mayberry, going up as high as he could. Just a hair late getting to that point. One out, back to the top of the order with Jimmy Rollins. Rollins grounded out that to first base as he led things off. We have seen Brett Cecil up quite a bit is my interpretation of things. Now brings one down around the knees as he gets a strike. And at his velocity, Tabby, I think you'd have to say if he's up a good deal, he's going to give up a lot of home runs.
Keep it out of the middle of the plate. I think that is very important. Go in and out. Stay down.
Blue Jays jumped on top with a pair in the first inning. Laurie and Rasmus doubled back-to-back. That made it 1-0. 2 outs later, Kelly Johnson drove in a run with a base hit. And the Phillies with the 2 solo home runs, Jim Thome and John Mayberry Jr. Curveball is popped up into shallow left center field. Rajay Davis has the call and the catch, and 2 down here in the third. Do sons play like dads? Well, in the case of John Mayberry Jr. and Big John Mayberry Sr., starting to look like it.
1980 was Big John's finest season here in Toronto. 30 home runs, 82 RBIs. He was my hitting coach while I was with Kansas City, and one of the best in baseball. Loved talking to him. There's his son, Junior. Junior used to hang around the ballpark when he was just a little kid.
You were telling me he had some pretty good impersonations of batting stances of Royals players.
Oh, he had them all, and he had them down to a T. He had the George Bretts and the Amos Otis.
I want to see the Pat Tabler.
Okay. Well, no, you don't. No, you don't. But yeah, he was born to play. Grew up around the ballpark. Went to Stanford, very high draft pick. And he's putting a whaling on the Blue Jays. Not just this series.
It's always great to look in the eyes of a player right after whatever happens. In this case, something good for Mayberry Jr., the home run. As you internally play it over and over and try to see the pitch and what you did right.
There's 3 home runs now that he has hit against the Blue Jays in his career in just 23 at bats.
3 balls and a strike. Placido Polanco at the plate. He's the third baseman this afternoon. And Cecil would like to get him right here and not have to face Hunter Pence. This is up again. First walk issued by Cecil. Comes with 2 outs. Hunter Pence, a strikeout victim in the first inning. Cecil has struck out 4 already. 2 in the first, 2 in the second inning. Got Pence on a changeup in the dirt, and now Pence awkwardly waves through, trying to check his swing.
You know, he can look so bad at times swinging the bat, but look at those numbers: 280, 13 home runs, 39 driven in. He's a dangerous hitter. He can come right back and put a beautiful swing on the baseball after that check swing type.
Little chopper foul. I'd like to put you in the spot of a scout. He's an amateur player. Big guy, and he is a big guy.
Yeah, and I didn't realize how big he is.
Yeah, you get next to him, he's a big guy. Yeah. He's awkward. I mean, let's be frank about it. With his mannerisms, how would you view him as a scout?
That's the type of player where you've got to really look inside his heart and his mind.
Fouls one back as he has a big rip.
Because the game, watching him, what you see with your eyes and watching this game says, wow, he doesn't look like he's going to be able to handle it. So if you know a little something about him, he's a very strong-willed type of person. He's got a heart, and he's willing to learn and do it his way. Works very hard. That's where a scout's job is. That goes beyond just looking at the watch and looking at the times that you see and the swing.
I think he'd be one of those guys also that you'd probably have to say or hear from somebody, maybe his coach, that might say, don't judge him on one day. Watch him for a while. Don't look at what he looks like. Look at what he does.
Look at the numbers.
Yeah.
And look at how he, that's a great point about seeing him more than just one time, because if you go one time and he goes 0 for 4, you say, well, this guy can't play. You've lost out on a pretty decent player. But you go and watch him. Does he make the adjustments? What type of player is he from day to day? Does he see improvement?
Cecil leaves that curveball up and away. That'll fill it. That'll put Polanco on the move at first base. And another guy you don't want to face if you're Brett Cecil waiting on deck. That's Jim Thome. Curveball grounded left side off the glove of the diving Brett Lawrie. That'll kick off of Escobar into left field. And a base hit results. Runners at first and third now for the cleanup man of the Phils.
That is one time right there where the great range of Brett Lawrie hurts him.
Yeah.
If you got the great range, which he does, and if you're not going to field the ball cleanly, that's where you've got to just know to let that one go. Your shortstop is standing right behind you, right there, and he certainly's got enough arm to get it across the diamond. And I know third basemen, they're supposed to pick everything that they can get to, but if you have to leave your feet like that, it might be better just to go ahead and let the shortstop make that play.
Used to hear coaches and managers say, take everything you can get to, but then after they'd see those tip balls by third baseman, they'd say everything you can handle.
Can handle, meaning don't leave your feet.
Right.
You can't be diving for the ball like that. It's just too hard to get back up and then make a play.
Jim Thome clubbed his 4th home run of the season as he led off the 2nd inning. Just a bolt to right field. As he fouls one back, it's the 100th for Thome as a member of the Philadelphia Phillies, and we talked about it after that home run in the 2nd inning. He is now in some elite company with being a member of 3 different clubs, hitting 100+ home runs.
Alex Rodriguez hit 100 home runs with the Mariners, the Rangers, and with the Yankees. Reggie Jackson, Angels, Yankees, and A's, and Darrell Evans with 3 different clubs.
And when it comes to interleague home runs all time, he's right where he belongs, right at the top.
Best right there. 63 home runs in interleague play, more than Delgado, Griffey Canerco, and Alex Rodriguez. It's Jim Thome doing it like he always does, very quietly.
Hits one on the ground, right side. Kelly Johnson makes the play on the run and throws him out. And that'll do it for the Phillies. Brett Cecil able to get out of the 3rd inning with just the 1 run on the home run by John Mayberry. Coming up for the Blue Jays, top of the order, Brett Lawrie, Colby Rasmus, and Jose Bautista.
Happy Father's Day to my dad and to my grandpa. Glad you guys are here with me on this special day, and hope you guys have an awesome day.
So Brett Lawrie, like other Blue Jays teammates, with their dads on hand here this afternoon, and Brett Lawrie had a double for Pop and for Grandpa in the first inning and scored the Blue Jays' first run. He went after a fastball aggressively his first at bat, this time on the slider.
Why don't you go ahead and get another double for your grandfather this time?
Yeah, don't leave Dad and Grandpa arguing over who that first double was for.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All regaled in the Blue Jay blue. With that double, Brett Lawrie hitting .288. He continues to slowly push toward .290.
It's difficult for a young hitter to come into the big leagues. He has a very good reputation in this game. He did a great job last year with the 9 home runs and 150 or so at bats last year. Well, the pitchers are going to change. They're throwing in more breaking balls, and now it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him.
Lawrie grounds one to short. That'll back up Rollins as he makes the play to get the speedy Brett Lawrie. And now time for an update with Jamie. Those Tampa Bay Rays start the day in third place in the American League East, trailing the Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles. Blue Jays are 3 games back of Tampa Bay. With one out, Colby Rasmus stands in. Colby had that RBI double in the first inning as he, like Lawrie, hit one to the gap in left center field and deep. Colby gets tied up a bit, pops one into shallow left field. Mayberry's there to make the catch, and 2 quick outs. Kyle Kendrick starting to settle in a bit. He allowed the 2 runs to the Jays in the first inning. Had a 1-2-3 second inning, getting Gomes, Davis, and Mathis, and now gets the first 2 here in the third inning. Jose Bautista drew a walk, but then was picked off first base by the catcher Ruiz. Nice quick play from the Phil's catcher. Carlos Ruiz has been turning into one of the game's very best all-around catchers.
With that pickoff, he should be right around 40% throwing out base stealers.
Good slider.
I like the aggressive attitude that Ruiz had there in the first inning. He realized that his pitcher was struggling to throw the ball where he wanted to. He tried to pick off at second base. That didn't work, and then he picked off Jose at first base.
Jose hits one sharply, but on the ground at third. Polanco makes the play from the knees and throws out Bautista. Another 1-2-3 inning. Just 8 pitches needed by Kyle Kendrick. As we go to the 4th inning, it's a 2-2 game, Phils and Blue Jays. Rogers Center, as the Blue Jays are tied with the Phillies at 2. And like a number of his teammates, he has his dad here. He happens to be in the booth with us right now. That's John Morrow. And John, welcome to the booth. And
thank you.
You know, like so many parents, I think we all think our kids are special. When did you become realistically aware that Brandon had a chance to play professionally as a baseball player?
Probably when he was junior in high school, between junior and senior year.
Start blowing away the other hitters?
Yeah, he did. He kind of came out of nowhere. When he was a youth growing up, he was never anything outstanding. He was always a little kid, and sometimes didn't get picked to all-star games or all-star teams. And, you know, he made all-stars as a 15-year-old, and he pitched to one batter, and that was it.
And that was it.
And he walked him, and he was out of the game. So, you know, Brandon never really came around till he was in high school.
More of a late bloomer?
Yeah, definitely. He was a little kid growing up, and you know, it was pretty amazing.
Did he play other sports?
He did a little bit. He played football when he was 10, and you know, he was like the number 2 quarterback and got run over every time. So he quickly became a defensive back, and he played basketball, CYO like every other year, and played freshman basketball, but then he kind of settled on baseball.
He looks like a basketball player to me. Just he's 6'3", he's thin, he's got long arms.
Yeah, he could be.
Did he have any interest in going, or was he good enough to go anywhere in basketball?
No, not really. He kind of concentrated on baseball. He loved baseball, and he playing it since he was, you know, 4 years old.
He wound up playing baseball at Cal collegiately. What led him there?
Well, he kind of bloomed when that junior year, and played for a travel team called NorCal, who plays nationally. You know, they go to Jupiter, Florida, and